Chapter 5 of Two Wolves. Page 34. 5. Within the Woods. Ben awoke to darkness all around as the car climbed a steep hill into rainforesty woods. Trees flicked quickly by. Tiny red eyes watched them from the blackness. Mum and Olive were asleep, Dad lit by dashboard glow. Ben stretched and groaned. Where are we? No answer. The car raced ever upward. Ben's back and muscles ached. His neck hurt. They'd been driving all day and he had fallen asleep after a drive-through dinner of burger, shake and fries. Dad, he asked again. Nearly there. The cabin? Silence. Ben sat, quiet and wide awake. The headlights sliced through the night, opening it up for a moment, then snapping it shut as they passed. He nervously touched each one of his fingertips to his thumbs over and over again. He had 7 million questions surging through him, but he did not know how to ask Dad without riling him. I'm me, he thought. Not this again, said another voice inside him. But if I'm me, then who is everybody else? Ben often had these I'm me sessions. It was usually when he was walking home from school or before he went to sleep. What does that mean, me? He wondered. He sometimes drove himself crazy with these thoughts. He tried to concentrate on the road, the headlights carving up the night, the flattened animal carcasses. Cane Toad sitting up, tall and proud, then bam, tires, pancake. Thoughts drifted out of the darkness. I am me. But if I'm me, then who are Mum and Dad? Who are James and Gus? Are they me too? They think they're me. They call themselves I, just like I do. So how am I different? I'm in a different body, but are we all the same thing somehow? Ben's I'm me sessions always brought up more questions than answers. Each time he tried to capture me, it would disappear into the dark corners of his mind, like a dream he was desperately trying to remember. Where did his thoughts and ideas come from? Even though the I'm me, what was that? It felt like there was someone back there saying these things that Ben couldn't control. His mind flicked between sharp corners, darting animals, dashboard glow, and me, until Dad suddenly slowed on a corner and took a left onto a dirt road. Is this it? Ben asked. Dad skidded to a stop. He nudged Mum. I think this is it. Mum stirred and sat up in her seat. Her jaw clicked when she yawned. A childhood collision with a wire fence. What? I'm not sure, but I think it is. Mum looked around. Trees, dirt road, dark. Okay. I haven't been here in 13 years, but I went through that little town with the water tank and the store with the metal cow out front, then uphill for about 10 minutes and... Mum thought for a moment. I don't know, I just woke up. Maybe it is. Silence all around. Headlights trained on a tree trunks. Eucalyptus. Olive out cold. Ben waiting, nervous. Well, should we go down and check? Dad asked. It's your family cabin. What do you mean by that? I mean that you've dragged us up here, so you make the decision, Mum said. Dad waited a few seconds and then let out a handbrake. The car began to climb steeply downhill. Olive's head was tossed around by every bump in the road. Trees crowded in overhead. Ben was alert and focused on the track diving into the valley. Questions about me were left on the tarred road. He wished that they were arriving in the day. Dad drove slowly, weaving to avoid potholes. Something shot out from the side of the road and bounced in front of the car. Dad hit the brakes. What was that? Ben asked, squeezing his lip. Dunno. Wasn't a rabbit. Nose was too long. A bandicoot, maybe? Or a potteroo? What's that? Dad asked. Don't worry. Ben wasn't too sure himself, but there was no point talking Australian wildlife with Dad. It wasn't his area. They plunged ever downward, the ridges and ruts in the road becoming deeper the further they dived. For 5 minutes nobody spoke. Are we sure this is it? Mum asked. Dad didn't respond. Ben figured that every future holiday could only get better than this. He clutched the broken armrest in his door and dug his feet into the floor. The nose of the car was pitched so far forward it felt as though they might somersault. Bang! The right front wheel dropped. They stopped. Dad opened his door and climbed out to inspect the damage. Hum of the engine, chill of the night, and smell of fumes filled the car. The lights were trained on a sharp left-hand bend up ahead, a steep drop over the edge. "Do you think this is the right way?" Ben whispered, careful Dad did not hear. Mum shrugged, chewing on the skin of her thumb. A minute or two passed before Dad got to the car. "Can't see a thing." He released the handbrake and turned to the wheel far to the left, his door open. He revved hard and the back wheel spun, howling into the night. Ben prayed that they would get out of this, but the car didn't move. Mum sighed. Ben balled his fist, digging his nails into his palm. He wondered how Olive could sleep through this. The engine screamed and the wheels continued to spin. Dad turned the wheel to the right and the front of the car jerked suddenly up and forward. Dad slammed his door and they lurched ahead, towards the sharp left-hand bend. Dad took the corner too fast and the back of the car slipped toward the drop, then corrected. Soon, bushes bunched in on either side of the car. "Squeak!" Branches scratching. Dad growled. The squeak went on, the night digging its claws into the paintwork, before a clearing appeared ahead and the bushes opened up on either side. "This is it," Dad said. A timber cabin came into view, hunched against the forest and darkness. It was built of long logs, 20 centimetres thick, running straight up and down from the ground to the roof. One dark window and a door next to it. Trees huddled low over the cabin, just as Ben had imagined. The ridges in the corrugated iron roof choked up with leaves. The car came to a stop. Dad twisted the key and switched off the engine. "I'm not getting out," Ben said. End of chapter 5.